Today, we'll be building a SwiftUI to-do list app with Firebase login and Firestore. This is the actual app we'll be creating. The user is able to log in using their credentials, test@test.com. The password is test1234. Click on sign in. So as you can see, there are a few to-dos that the user needs to complete. We can add a new to-do. Click on the plus sign, add the to-do subject, collect relative from airport, assign a date, say 27th of August, click on save. As you can see, the to-do has been saved. And I'll also show you the to-do within the Firestore database. And as you can see, if we navigate to Firebase, we can see all the to-dos for the logged in user. So if I click on this document here, for this user, you can see the to-dos. And this is the new to-do that we just submitted a few minutes ago, collect relative from the airport. We can also delete the to-dos from the Firestore database by swiping. So if we wanted to delete one of the to-dos, we just swipe and click on delete, and then that record will also be removed from Firestore. And we can update the to-do as well. If you want to set one of the to-dos to complete, let's code is playing up. So go to delete mode. Let me just stop the simulator, try it again. I'll select the record again, the one that we want to update. Okay, so at the moment, the status for the wash the car to do is pending. If I want to, I can update it to done, and click on save. As you can see, it's now been updated to done, so that to-do is done. We can also search or filter the to-dos. If I type in W, it will filter on all the to-dos that contains the letter W, such as wash the car and mow the lawn. So I don't know what happened there, so let's go. So this is the app that we'll be creating today. Don't forget to subscribe for more Swift and SwiftUI tutorials. We are continuing with our to-do editor view. So last week, this is where we left off within the initializer. So what we need to do now is to implement our navigation stack and add our text fields as seen here. Where's the right one now? Subjects. Yeah, in this screen here. So we need to add our subject, due, and our status picker as well. So we need to implement that within our to-do editors view. So delete line 33. and then add our new navigation stack. Navigation stack. A form. Our form will contain the following elements, such as a text field, to capture the subject of the to-do, also a date picker that includes the due date of the to-do, selection, $, due at, display components. So we want to display the date plus the hours, the hour and minutes. It should be hour and minute. Within our picker, date picker. And then within our picker for our to-do, we have statuses such as complete or pending or cancel, selection, and we loop through each of our elements in our array and display our statuses that enables the user to choose from. For each to-do status, all cases, S in, I just called it status. The status in text status.raw value, and we capitalize each status. And we also use a tag. It should be capitalized. After capitalize, we need a closing bracket there, and then we need to delete the other closing bracket at the end of status. That should be okay now. Now we next need to add a navigation title. Existing. If existing is nil, then that means we don't have any to-dos. So we signify this to the user that they can create a new to-do. Else, if there are to-dos available, we show the user that they can that they can edit their existing to-do. And remember, all of these to-dos are stored in Firebase. We also need a toolbar, so we need to add the toolbar to the navigation. The toolbar item will include a cancellation action, so the button for this will be called cancel, and then when the user clicks on that button, they're able to dismiss, get rid of the view. We Also need to add another toolbar item. The purpose of this toolbar item will enable the user to click on the Save button. It should be placement, confirmation action, button, save, on save. So we're saving the subject and the due at and the status, which will be saved and sent to Firebase, and then we just dismiss the sheet afterwards. And we also need to disable the button if the subject is empty, because each to-do needs to have a subject. For example, to-do for, what's the date today? A to-do for like Monday the 22nd of September could be to wash the car. So the subject for the to-do would be to wash the car. So if there's no to-do available, then that button has to be disabled. So we just type the following: subject.trim characters in white spaces is empty. So if it's empty, then just disable the button. The next file we need to create is our to-do list file. And the purpose of our to-do list file, our to-do list view, is to enable the user to display and capture all of the to-dos that are stored in Firebase. So this is the view that we'll be creating, the to-do list view. Create a new file, SwiftUI file. Name the file to-do list view. We need to decorate the list view with with main actor, and also that should be a lowercase I for list view. That should be lowercase I there on lines 18. We need to add a few variables at environment, auth service, .self, private var, auth. So the purpose of lines 18 is to pull in the auth service from the environment, and the purpose of the auth service is to enable the application to sign in, sign out, for example. At state private var VM, which is our view model, which is our to-do list view model. So the view model holds the business logic and the data logic for the to-do list. And the other variable we need to create is another at states, private var show editor equals false. And that will just control when the sheet should be shown or hidden. At state, private var editing to do optional equals nil. And that will hold the current to do that's being edited at that time. We also need, I spelled private incorrectly, so there should be an A after the B. So we also need to add our init method. PM equals state, initial value to do list view model auth init. So what we've done there, we've just initialized the view model with a placeholder of auth service. The next thing we need to do is to delete lines 26 and then add our navigation stack, our list, and then loop through all of our to-do items that were retrieved from Firebase. So for each, don't know why it doesn't like that for each. Let me type it again. We also need to add a button. Editing is equal to do. That will set the current to do. And also show editor is equal to true. And that will open the editor sheet. We also need a label, hstack, so within our hstack we also need to create the bstack, then alignment, dot leading, spacing 4 pixels, text, to do, subject, and then we just apply the font type, which is headline. And then we need to add another text element to show the to-do.due date, which is due at, style, date, font dot subheadline, dot foreground style is secondary. The next thing we need to do is to add a spacer to the right side of the status badge. And then we also need to include our to-do status, which is within our raw value, which is our enum, and it should be capitalized. Font dot callout, the font type, padding dot horizontal, padding dot vertical, 4, and then clip shape is capsule, as you can see, the preview takes such a long time to load. On delete, offsets, in, and the purpose of this is to enable the user to swipe to delete the preview. Then we call await VM, our view model, dot delete. Delete it at this offset. And if we go to our delete method within our view model, we can see how it works. See, it sends a record to Firebase, and then Firebase will delete the record, the to-do from the system. The next thing we need to do is to create our overlay within our list to show the different types of states, such as loading or empty. What happened with Xcode? I'm going to delete the preview. If VM is loading, so if we're in loading state, then we need to show the progress view. So that the user will be aware that something is being retrieved. Else, if VM is to filter the to-dos, and if it's empty, then we have to show the content on available view. And it will be the caption, no to-dos. For the system image, we just use list.bullet. There shouldn't be two else statements on line 64 and 65, there's an error. So we need to delete the one on line 64 and delete any bracket, any one of these brackets. Now let's compile it. The next thing we need to do is to add a navigation title. Navigation title, my to-dos, and then we also need to add our toolbar buttons at the top. Toolbar, the toolbar needs toolbar items. Placement will be top bar leading. The button will be, or we'll have the caption sign out. And then we just call try author.sign out to sign out of the application and to sign out of Firebase. Just going to compile it again. We also need to create another another toolbar item. And the purpose of this toolbar item will give the user the option to create a new to-do by clicking on a plus sign. Toolbar item placement, it should be placement. bar trailing, and then the button that will be editing equals nil. As we're not in editing mode, we'll be creating a new to-do. Show editor equals to true. And then for the label, it will be image, system name, and plus. What else do we need to do? Don't know why this one is coming up as an error. So there's toolbar item, placement, dot, top bar trailing, button, wonder if I deleted a bracket by accident. Well, let me delete this one and compile it and see what happens. So now I'll just retype it. Toolbar item, placement dot top bar trailing, something to do with the toolbar item. I'll pause the video, see if I can fix it offline. Yeah, I found the problem. What it is, there's a bracket missing after line 78. There should be a bracket here to end this toolbar item. And then we need to delete any of these brackets at the end. And then just recompile. And then apply our button again that we created a few minutes ago. Editing equals nil. Show editor equals true. Label, image, system name, and we're using plus again. I'll just compile it again. So in next week's tutorial, we add the feature that enables the view to refresh itself and repopulate the records from Firebase.